If you were to ask me from a strictly competitive standpoint, if I was the Angels, would I consider trading Shohei Ohtani before the deadline? Not only would I consider it, I would do it. And there's multiple reasons why, but guys, trading Shohei Ohtani is extremely complicated for the Los Angeles Angels. We're going to talk about it. We have a tweet right here. Sources, MLB teams are calling Angels to express trade interest into Ohtani, but the Angels are indicating they have no plans to move him before the August 2nd trade deadline. So the current situation with the Angels, they've got Mike Trout under that massive contract for the next 10 years. They've got Anthony Rendon on a horrible $30+ million contract over the next 5 years. And they've got Shohei Ohtani due for a massive contract after next season. And if this was strictly baseball, if this was strictly a baseball decision, if I'm the Angels where I'm at right now, my odds of re-signing him, the risk factor that comes into Ohtani, giving him a $40 million deal, everything that can go wrong with injury with him as a pitcher and a hitter. There's no question I would be 100% shopping Shohei Ohtani and trading him to the highest bidder. The issue is Shohei Ohtani brings so much in terms of revenue, in terms of relevance for the Angels. It makes it extremely, extremely tough for them to just trade him away, even if they are getting a massive haul. And even if it does make baseball sense, which in my eyes, it would make baseball sense, you can't even win with Shohei Ohtani making $5 million. What happens when you're going to pay him $40 million? You can't put a competitive roster together with Ohtani taking up a 10th of what he's worth, even like a 20th of what he's worth. What happens when you pay him $40 million? You're paying Rendon $30 million. You're paying Trout $30 million. This is just a bad situation for the Angels, and it creates a situation where either you're going to be paying three players over $100 million per year, or you're going to let Shohei Ohtani walk for nothing when you desperately need to rebuild a bad farm system. So that's why I would trade him, but I understand why they're probably not going to. He brings in too much in terms of the market factor and things like that. But just looking at some trades, possible teams, the Mets, certainly they're a team that loves making splashes. They could re-sign him. I'm sure they'd love to do that. With the whole New York thing, they want to be a big team in New York. They're spending money left and right with their new owner. And if you're the Angels, you're getting Francisco Alvarez. That's really the prospect here, along with a few other good prospects. But it's, Francisco Alvarez, the best catching prospect in baseball, the number 2 overall prospect in baseball. Not sure why the Mets would be trading Vogelbach. They just traded for him yesterday. That's just kind of a weird throw-in. But either way, if you're the Angels, it's tough to trade Ohtani due to his market, but you have to understand the current situation where he's due a massive contract after next year. You've already got 2 guys, Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon, taking up like $80 million in payroll by themselves combined. So it's very tough. This is a trade with the Braves. So, boy, Braves fans really did not like this trade. I did not make this. I did not make these trades, guys. Sometimes I'll make trades, but most of the time I'm just screenshotting other people's trade ideas and then reacting to them. And this one got 0 likes and 10 dislikes. A lot of prospect hugging Braves fans there. Now, they like Michael Harris. I understand. That's the big piece. Contreras, if I was a Braves fan, I'd be fine with trading Contreras. I don't know how he started the All-Star game. He is a one-season wonder to me. But, the Braves are another team. Do they go all in? Do they go after Ohtani? With that payroll. The Braves have an unbelievable situation as long as Acuna stays healthy, getting him under that contract where he's basically making $18 million per year over the next 7 years. One of the best contracts in baseball. Ozzie Albies, I know he's injured right now, but he has another amazing contract. So you could theoretically trade for Ohtani and then you would think be able to afford and re-sign him and pair him with Ronald Acuna. That would be crazy. This is another Braves trade. This is a very interesting one that I don't think the Angels would do. So this is offloading most of Rendon's horrible contract, also pairing him with Ohtani, and then the Braves also get some cash. So the Angels are offloading some of it. It's kind of like they're splitting it in the middle because the Braves are getting some cash to take on that horrible Rendon contract. And the Angels really are getting nothing in value. 19 total value in smaller term prospects overall. That would just be the Angels trying to get out of a terrible contract, which I don't think they would do. If you're going to trade Ohtani, you want to get superstar prospects in return, or the fan base would just revolt. You're just going to have to eat the Anthony Rendon contract and hope he's able to get healthy and hit again. If you are the Angels, this is one with the Yankees. I don't think Ohtani wants to go to New York, so I guess probably the Mets are out because Ohtani is very particular about what teams he wants to be on. That's part of the reason he chose the Angels. Yeah, it's LA, but it's the smaller team in LA. I don't think he wants to go to the Yankees. He's pitched at Yankee Stadium twice. He's been terrible. I'm not saying he can't pitch in big games, but it just doesn't seem like he's a very particular dude, and I don't think he would really want to go to the Yankees. And also, this trade makes no sense. If you're the Yankees and you're giving up Volpe and Dominguez, it needs to be for Juan Soto, in my opinion. So that's just, but it is crazy. Ohtani can also be an ace. That's the crazy thing with Ohtani. You could throw him in the Yankees pitching staff, make it a 6-man rotation if Severino comes back, and he's also an unbelievable hitter. The Marlins getting in on it a little bit here, trading Jazz Chisholm and Max Meyer. If I'm the Angels, I'm not interested in this package haul. I think you could get better prospects than Chisholm. I mean, Chisholm obviously is not a prospect. He's a young player. He's proven it at the MLB level. He can play, but I think the Angels could do better than this. If they're just trading Ohtani straight up, they could do better. The Padres, the Padres rumored to be in on Juan Soto. They definitely have the prospects. I don't think the Padres would do this, honestly. It's a bit of an overpay. I understand they'd also be getting a lot of money to take on. If you're the Angels, then you can get C.J. Abrams, Grisham, Hassel, Wood, the outfield. I mean, my God, for a 1.5 years of Ohtani, I would do that 100%. I don't think I think the Padres certainly say no to this. And if the Padres are going to give up a prospect haul like that, it's going to be for Juan Soto, who's got 2.5 years left on his contract, and he is a better hitter than Ohtani. Of course, Ohtani also pitches, but and then the Blue Jays. So this is probably the best offer that maybe could be realistic. Martinez and Gabriel Moreno, who is an unbelievable catching prospect. Those would be two of the main ones going to the Angels. And then the Blue Jays just getting Ohtani. So yeah, the Blue Jays, Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr., and Ohtani. And you've still got, a decent pitching staff. We'll see if Barrios can kind of have a better second half. But this one could theoretically work. You're trading him out of division. It still is the AL. But again, that report that we heard that said it says there's no plans, they're going to move him. I think they're not going to move him, but I really wouldn't buy too much into that. I feel like you have to listen based on your current situation. If anything, you have one horrible contract with Rendon, Trout's contract, you can say what you want about Trout. He's getting older and he always gets injured, and he's signed for $30 million per year for the next 9 years. I understand Mike Trout's amazing, but that is not an ideal situation. We could be at a point in 3 or 4 years where Mike Trout's contract is untradeable. So it's like if I'm the Angels, this really has to be a fork in the road. And I think I'll project what I think is going to happen with the Angels. I think they're going to keep Ohtani and try and retool and say, listen, we have two of the best players in the MLB. Next year, we're going to go back at it. We're going to get a veteran pitcher, kind of like they did this year with Syndergaard. We're going to go back at it next year, revamped, and see, because we do have two of the best players in baseball, Trout and Ohtani. And then if things don't work out, they will trade Ohtani at the deadline next year. The issue with doing that is his value is going to be way lower. You're trading for a rental player, as opposed to right now, you're legitimately talking, if you trade Ohtani, you will be getting back a superstar prospect, as long as you don't include Rendon's horrible contract, which I don't think they would. But it is very complicated. Just from a baseball sense, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the Angels payroll situation. I would trade Ohtani, and then I would trade Mike Trout in the offseason. It's just not working. You need to rebuild your farm system. You're not going anywhere. You have a ton of payroll, and you know, the Rendon contract does not help things. I would not trade Rendon right now. I would hope and pray he can regain at least some of his trade value. If he can hit next year, you could trade him and maybe only have to eat half his salary or something. But yeah, so I think the Angels, due to Ohtani, how popular he is with, you know, with that situation in Los Angeles, they're not going to want to trade him. I mean, certainly they get really good attendance in LA with the Angels. Compared to how bad their team is, they still get really good attendance, especially when Ohtani pitches or hits. It's a spectacle. So from a baseball sense, the trade 100% makes it sense. But if you're talking about ownership and revenue, they're going to want Ohtani to be on the team. And then, I mean, if they re-sign him, I think Ohtani is a major liability. I would not be interested at all in paying Ohtani $40 million per year. You want to talk about an injury risk? I'll just pay Juan Soto, man. It's too risky to give him 7-year, 8-year contract. That's what he's going to try and get, I'm sure. And I'm not saying he's not worth it. He's an unbelievable player, but the injury risk is just way too great. If I'm giving a $40 million contract out, it's Juan Soto. That's who I'm giving it to personally. But that's just my opinion. We'll see what the Angels end up doing. I do think they'll keep him, but you certainly have to at least listen to offers, in my opinion. We'll see. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.